Are you ready? Shad wrote another book. Shad wrote another book and I am here for it. Are you ready? I'm not. I haven't read this whole thing yet, and I cannot wait to see where this goes. I'm going to show you how long it is first. I'm going to show you. I show you. Look at this. Oh, you think it's about to end? Oh, maybe now? Maybe it's over now. It just keeps going. This is the biggest tweet I've ever seen. Oh, there's the end of it. But then he links to this big long thing from this guy. Yeah. Are you ready? Let's read this thing first. Let's read this first, because this seems like this is posted on Facebook, but this seems to be the catalyst. So this is from Scola Gladiatora. For anybody who doesn't know who that is, that's this guy. Matt Easton. He does like swords and military stuff, and I would suspect it does Shad's job better than Shad does, which is probably why Shad big mad. Dear community fans and members, this is the kind of post I normally try to avoid. You will notice that this morning I have removed a post that I made while I was away working and traveling yesterday. At quite short notice, I was kindly invited to get together with a varied group of people to do some filming. I don't normally turn down such opportunities unless I have some concrete reason, even if I have factual and non-damaging disagreements with another person involved. I try to beat views that I disagree with facts and arguments. And argument. One of the people involved yesterday, it turns out, is a highly personally offensive to a lot of people I care about, both here and offline. I did not know the depths and complexities of the issues with that person before yesterday. I don't care if someone has historical views that I disagree with. I will argue with them, but I do care deeply. Soccer balls? But I do deeply care. I'm reading. I do deeply care if a person has views that I deem to be venturing into the realm of bigotry, such as sexism, racism, or homophobia. That is absolutely and obviously a line in the sand for me. I have interacted with this person over the years, including posting video rebuttals, arguments, responses, etc. on historical matters. I had not experienced anything negative with that person other than disagreeing with a fairly large number of points the person made, as evidenced by my video responses over the years. Example, what is HEMA? H-E-M-A. However, yesterday, after filming, it was brought to my attention that on their second channel, one I have only visited a handful of times a long time ago, this person is now promoting political and social views which are absolutely against my own views, and indeed against the principles of the groups and events I run. I was not aware of the nature and extremity of this person's views before yesterday. People can, of course, voice their views in a free society, but I am equally free to disapprove of, disagree, and disassociate with those views, which I hereby do in black and white terms. I do not at all align myself or in any way agree with that person's views on these topics, which should be patently obvious to anyone who knows me or has followed my channel closely. I filmed one video with the said person yesterday, and I had already decided last night not to publish that. I have also now taken down yesterday's post because I want to move on from this and disassociate from them. I understand that many people will be angry that I have collaborated with this person at all, even before I knew their views, and I hope that it will partially appease you to know that I will not associate with them again. Now that I know the full facts and that there will be no output from yesterday's filming coming from me. For people who are upset to read this and did not know about this person's views, I suggest that you go and decide for yourself, but I know where my line in the sand is. Now this page will return to its usual content. Apologies for the diversion. So, this is actually a pretty solid post from like my reading and understanding of what they're talking about. I have one issue with it. They do not name the person, which is a little bit problematic when you tell people to go and look. Now, it makes sense for your fan base. And to be fair, this person seems to be talking to their fan base. So for me, who is not part of the fan base, not knowing what he posted yesterday, I can't go and look to see what this person is referring to. If you notice, Shad's name is not there at all. But it seems like Shad decided he wanted to tattle on himself and say that this was 100% about him. Now, given Shad's persuasion, in which that he really, really likes to make things that aren't about him, we're gonna have to give this a read and see. The guy sounds reasonable. What he said seemed very, like, this is very clear. It's well worded, explaining what they think is right and what they think is wrong and what is, politically aligned in the sand for them about what they do and do not want to work with. And as long as they stick to what they said here, I see nothing really wrong with this statement. And again, this looks like it's being posted to a public Facebook group, which means it's likely that the people that he's talking to already know what they're referring to. So, like, again, I'm an outsider coming in and looking in on it, so I don't know for sure who they're talking about. Meaning that it could have very easily been left alone and the person didn't have to deal with any backlash. But, nope! Drama llama, here we go! Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Something very sad has happened. Oh, I gotta zoom this in, like, something very sad has happened. Yes, Chad? It's a good way to start. Matt Easton of, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's this guy. It's this guy. This guy. Scola Gladiatora. It's really hard to read when it's a handle. Scola Gladiatora. It's a cool name. Matt Easton of Scola Gladiatora, a long-time collaborator and friendly peer in the YouTube sword community, has just chosen to cut off all association with me, Shad, and my channel, Shadversity. You didn't need to say this. Why do you talk like this? We had just had a great day collaborating with other wonderful sword content creators. It was a day of friendship, discussion, and laughter. Upon sharing some images of the day and filming, he received many hateful comments about me. I'm guessing of the type that grossly misrepresent and vilify my beliefs in an attempt to discredit and harm my reputation. Did they show him the words you said? Because you say some pretty harmful and extreme and villainous opinions. Without contacting me to find out the truth, context, of my extremely basic and commonly held conservative beliefs, that I am outspoken outside of Shadversity. Outspoken about outside of Shadversity. You mean he can just look at your shit and doesn't have to have a conversation with you about it? Because you do this publicly? He has chosen to totally and completely excommunicate me from his association. Excommunicate! I guess that's some hyperbolic language, but he didn't want to be my friend anymore because I'm a transphobic, homophobic, racist, misogynistic piece of shit. Even in spite of the kindness, support, respect, and friendship I've shown him over the years of our association. Okay, so this goes to what we talked about with Amelia Kunis and Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson. Just because you were nice to him doesn't mean he owes you anything, and doesn't mean that he should still associate with you if you raped somebody. Right? Like, if you're transphobic and somebody doesn't want to be around transphobia, whether it's a personal principle or whether it's about their brand, they don't have to associate with you because you were nice to them, because you're being horrible to somebody else, and you being horrible to somebody else is justification enough for somebody to say, I don't want to be around that person. If you kick a puppy, I don't feel safe around you, so I'm not gonna... you didn't kick a human. You kicked a whole other species. But it was I don't want to deal with somebody who's violent towards puppies. People are allowed to have standards. Right? Exactly. Goodwill, benefit of the doubt, personal friendly interactions, and past kindness mean little, apparently. Correct. If you're a bigot towards other people, however nice you were to somebody who isn't the target of your bigotry, doesn't suddenly mean that they owe you any kind of, like... What's the word I'm looking for? Not supporter. I mean, yes, but that's not the word I'm thinking of. What's the word? Guys, help me. What's the word? Sympathize. That's the word I was looking for. They don't owe you any kind of sympathy. They don't have to sympathize with you. Loyalty is another good word. Yeah, absolutely. Matt isn't the first person to do this. You think that maybe if Matt isn't the first person to do this, that maybe there's some merit to the criticism, and maybe you should look into it since it's clearly having real-life negative side effects in your personal and professional life? Maybe there might be an actual real... No, surely it's the children who are wrong. It's true, it must be trolls. It could only possibly be trolls. And people who don't have good enough integrity despite how kind I've been to them. Just because I was shitty to these other people. And perhaps I'll talk about the others in the future. Just don't. I keep Shadversity free from politics. All are welcome, regardless of their beliefs, and I extend a hand of friendship to all. Those that agree with my beliefs, and more importantly, those that don't, including Matt. Wrong. Incorrect. Rejected. Denied. No. You're wrong. We made it up. Incorrect. Here's the thing. Just because you keep Shadversity and, like, let's pretend that, like, your sword analyses don't have your political bias put in, like your opinions about whether or not women could draw a bowstring because you're stupid and misogynistic. But on your Shad Reviews channel, you're still using the Shad name, and it's still you, meaning that people from there come over to there. And so when those people start interacting, you are now exposing your viewers to assholes. And it's their right to not want that. So if Matt doesn't want your shitty audience that you're garnering from being shitty on your other channel on his channel, he doesn't have to. He doesn't owe you that. We don't negotiate with terrorists. I believe this is essential to push for a more peaceful and tolerant world. Yeah, that's the thing that Shad's known for from what we've looked at from Shad. Tolerance of other people who have different opinions, and definitely not hypocrisy and punching down. I will watch, support, and be friends with those who have beliefs I find offensive. Yeah, but they don't have to be friends with you. And they're not lesser for doing so. Being friends with Nazis, when you disagree with Nazis, doesn't make you the good guy. Because that's tacit support. You're just tacitly enabling them to say that whatever the thing that they're doing is offensive isn't important enough for you to bother with it. And everybody's going to have different lines. Right? So, like, some people are going to draw the line at Nazis, some people are going to draw the line at bigots, and some people are going to draw the line at this is a broadsword, and this is a short sword, and this is a bastard sword, and, like, navigating those terms. And technicalities. Oh, well, by weight it's this. Oh, by weight it's that. Or by length it's this. Or by girth it's that. You're not doing anybody, nobody owes you anything. You're not a better person for doing this necessarily. It's contextual. You know, that thing you complained about, that you're just assuming that guy didn't get and he was too stupid and didn't have enough integrity to go check for himself. Why would you make that assumption? You do realize you're shit flinging, right? Do you think that he's, like, doesn't realize that he's throwing shit and that he's, like, throwing, like, underhanded comments? That does not mean I will not stand up and be outspoken about my beliefs. And nobody said you couldn't. Nor should people censor themselves for the sake of my feelings. But the other post we looked at the other day literally was saying that. We looked at that on Friday. Go to the YouTube channel. Links are around. Whatever. And people should not have to betray their beliefs just to be accepted by others. But that's what you're asking for. You're asking... This is the paradox of tolerance. You're asking to have your intolerance tolerated. So you're allowed to be intolerant to people, but you demand to be tolerated by others. That your intolerance should be allowed. That's not how that works. We just need to learn to get along with those that are different. The way you would get along with people that are different from you, when the difference is trans people are allowed to live and be treated decently like humans, versus I'm going to be a piece of shit to them for no reason, is for you to shut your fucking mouth and keep your fucking beliefs to yourself. That would be the way you would get along in decent society. You would have to be decent. And if your beliefs are indecent, they're going to get you ostracized. But that's your choice because you're choosing to share them. And you're choosing to be a bigot. And you can't be a bigot without being stupid and dishonest. Because if you're not stupid, you have to lie. And if you have to lie, you're an idiot. His differences should be tolerated, but he doesn't tolerate anyone else's differences. Yes, correct. For all those who do not want to hear me fight for what I think is right, I separate it from Shadversity as best as I can. Oh, so you don't. So this was a lie. I keep Shadversity free from politics. I keep it separated as best as I can. And share such views on my second channel, Night's Watch, or here on Shitter. Okay, but this is your fucking checkmarked fucking Shadversity one, bro. And this links to this.
Hey guys, we need.
And then where does this link to? What else you got here? The Shadlands. Oh, okay, cool. Alright, what else does it link to? Night's Watch! So you do not keep these separated. You use the same shit, you use the same name, they're all intertwined with you, the person, so you do not keep these separated at all. You just keep them topical to the channel, I guess. I'm taking you for your word on that. I haven't looked to see if that's actually the case, or if you're just full of shit. Which might be. So, no, you don't keep it free from politics. You don't do that. You have it all linked together under the same umbrella. You have it all linked together under the same brand. And so because it's in the same brand, anybody who works with you has to, you're making them bring that baggage everywhere you go. So if Matt hosts you, he's got to deal with your baggage from that channel that you linked to the thing you're working on. That's your PR problem. That's your branding issue. You don't keep it separated at all. excuse me. This man's an idiot. Stressing me out. I'm kidding. It's just a lot of reading. I only address it now because people like Matt can't seem to understand this separation. The separation doesn't exist. Nor associate with people who believe things they find offensive. Why should they? You haven't said why people should tolerate things that they find offensive. If somebody calls me a bitch, or somebody calls me like, or if I know somebody's calling me a bitch behind my back, am I just supposed to tolerate them? Why? If somebody, let's say it was Manya. Let's say Manya said something like racist. Should I just continue to work with her, or should I call her out on it? If I said something racist, or I held a belief that was incredibly offensive to her, should she just deal with it? Shad, your white man privilege is showing. Your cis white man privilege is showing. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. That you're not telling why they should put up with it. It might be reasonable to put up with it for an amount of time that you have to make your argument or have that conversation with that person if they're close enough to you to bother, or that's something that you want to invest time in. But it's not up to the person who was offensive. That's up to the person who has to tolerate it. And they don't have to tolerate it if they don't want to. Why should they? That's not their job. They're not your mom. Your mom's gotta put up with your ass. Not very long ago, it was far more common for people to get along and be friends, regardless of their run-of-the-mill political or religious views, even if they found them offensive. Why was that? Was it because that they weren't allowed to be acknowledged as people, and now they're not tolerating that anymore? They did tolerate it for an amount of time, hoping things would get better, and things didn't get better, and so they rioted. What is not very long ago, Mr. History Man? Man, life was so much easier when those gays stayed in the closet. As if them being out of the closet really makes your life more difficult. And yes, my views are standard views most Christian conservatives have, regardless of how many people try to vilify and misrepresent them. People don't need to vilify your views. They're horrific enough as it is. You don't need to misrepresent them to vilify them. You you talk and people are going to get offended. And you know that. That's why you claim that your stuff was offensive. You already acknowledge that what you said was offensive. So if you already know it's offensive, by stating it, you're being an asshole. You think you're fighting for something. You think you're self-righteous here, but you're not. You're the problem. On the other hand, there's this whole idea of, like, most Christian conservatives hold these views. Prove it. Citation needed. Show me. Tell Elmo. Because I don't think that would necessarily be the case. So if I look up, like, give me an example, actually. I would need him to give me an example, like, of what his view would be. Women should get into the kitchen. Do most Christian conservatives believe this? ? But I notice how you have to also narrow it down. It's not most Christians, it's most Christian conservatives. And so is that the religious part or the conservative part? Meaning you don't get to hide behind your religion anymore, you're hiding behind your politics. I don't think that that's true. I think that there's a large number of assholes. I think there's a large number of assholes who believe these things, and they're relatively loud spoken, and they might be more active on in specific social circles. Like, so Shad might think that because his experience is that he is surrounded by a lot of Christian conservatives that hold this view, but yeah, that makes sense. But that doesn't make it the case. Your experience being this thing doesn't suddenly... I live in a town, when I went to high school, there was a lot of white kids. Does that mean that my city is mostly white kids? Not necessarily. Does that mean my country is mostly white people? Also not necessarily. It depends. My experience in this one area doesn't mean anything. If I go to class and there's one brown kid in my class, like there's one person, does that mean that the majority of the school, like that's the only one, that one kid? No, of course it doesn't. That's ridiculous. Hello? No. Hi, Landon. It's good to see you. I'm losing my mind. I'm just outspoken and stand up for what I believe. If that's the case, then you shouldn't be bitching, whining, and moaning right now about this person. You should just be like, yeah, no, I have views that he doesn't agree with. I'm outspoken about it. And I'm not apologetic about it. And if that's not what he wants to deal with, then that's fine. But you're not okay with it. You're bitching, moaning, and whining. You're a snowflake about this. Oh, how dare he? Bleh, I'm such a better person, even though I'm so offensive. Blah, 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 blah. I must be so misrepresented. Of course, people love to misrepresent my views in the vilest of ways. Apparently, it's better to strawman a person into a villain rather than address their views. We've talked about his views. Not extensively, but, over time we might cover more and more and more. But so far we've definitely covered transphobia. We've definitely covered bits of homophobia. We've definitely covered just bigotry in general. And we've absolutely covered his misogyny. So those are all confirmed. And we took what he was saying at face value. And we played his whole video, so there's no contextual issues either. There's no misrepresentation. My beliefs are free to be heard and understood by anyone. They are all available at Stay on Watch. What the fuck is this? Oh my god. I thought you said you left this shit separately. You don't. And you're retweeting your shit. You do not separate your fucking things. And then, like, your shit's not separated. It's all very, very, very intertwined. My beliefs are free to be heard and understood by anyone. They are all available on this place in context, and I stand by everything I've said there. Not the strawman villainous caricature people that hate me try to depict. Shad, I don't hate you, I just think you're a fucking idiot. Oh, and a bigot. I think you're a hateful bigot. But I don't hate you, because I'm the bigger person. I don't hate you. If I hated you, I wouldn't be able to make content about you, let's be real. I don't have that kind of fortitude. If I hate somebody, I'm not gonna watch their shit. This is why I don't watch Jordan Peterson. That's why there's only been like one or two things about Jordan Peterson, or very short clips that are of Jordan Peterson, because I actually hate Jordan. I cannot stand that man. So I don't cover his stuff because I can't handle just watching him talk. It just drives me crazy. His face makes me, makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Ugh. I don't feel that way about Shad. Shad just seems like a big dumb goof. I mean, so does the Quartering. They seem like those are the same guys. Just one of them's Australian and one of them's American. But hey, I mean, if he wants to talk to us about his views, I mean, that could be fun. Wouldn't that be fun? Hey, Shad, come over and hang out. We'll have a chat about, we'll pull a couple of clips and you can explain what the context was and how it was definitely out of context. That'll be fun. How he edited himself out of context. I love when people try to explain that. We can have a Shad! We'll have a Shad day on our Shad pad. And then we'll make Shad big mad. I am a clown. Nobody should ever talk to me ever, let's be real. What many ideologically possessed people who sit on the opposite political spectrum to me don't seem to understand is that they hold views that I find equally and personally offensive, as many of my beliefs are to them. I'm going to pause here because I know this is he has a really big problem with run-on sentences. Okay, but you're an ideologically possessed person. So implying that this is special in this group of people is kind of a little silly. But yeah, no, I understand that you find gay people existing or trans people existing offensive. That's the problem. Because there's no merit to that belief. That's what makes it bigotry. They don't bother you. They have nothing to do with you. They don't go after kids. You're full of shit. Like, there is no reason. It's medically and scientifically sound for them to exist. We'll talk more about that on Friday. I have a paper to show you guys. We'll go through that on Dumbfuck Friday because we have more bigotry to talk about. But I understand that you're offended that people exist. But you're not what you're not understanding is there is a line between people being treated as if they are human beings and fairly like they exist versus no, you're not allowed to exist as a person. There's no middle ground here about your beliefs being reasonable. If you were to say, hey, I find rock music offensive, everybody be like, okay. And if I said, I find bagpipes offensive, I don't, bagpipes are great. Then, so what? That's just like my opinion, man. But if you're going around advocating for people to not be allowed to exist for who they are, when they're not doing anything to harm anybody else, you're then being the harmful one, and you're the one that's being a problem. You're conflating this idea of offensive versus harmful, right? And conflating these two things is kind of problematic. Being a bigot is an opinion, right? Although sorry, I don't mean to cut this off, so I'm going to read this again just a little bit back, just so we get the context, just because I cut him off at the middle of his run-on sentence. What they don't seem to understand is that they hold views that I find equally and personally offensive, as many of my beliefs are to them. What's their belief? They don't have a belief. They are. There's a problem right there. Them being gay isn't a belief. You believe them thinking they're gay is a belief. It's not a belief. So you're comparing your belief, which you are choosing to express against somebody else. You're not expressing it against a belief. You're attacking who a somebody is. That's not a belief. I don't believe if I'm white. I am white. This is not, that's not how that works. If you want to make it about gender, and I say, I believe I'm a woman, I don't believe that, I am one. And if I was a man, I wouldn't believe that I'm a man, I would be a man. It's not a belief system. It's not how that works. And so when you try to pretend that your belief system is equivalent to who someone is as a fact, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Now, if you believe that you know better than that other person does about who they are and what they are, then I'm gonna have some fucking questions for you. Like, who the fuck are you to make that kind of distinction? And some people might. Some person might be like, actually, I'm a trained psychologist, and I've actually been working with this person for a good number of years, and I understand that they have this particular issue. And so when they say this, what they're actually saying or what they actually mean is this, and it's wrapped up in this package. That person might be able to have that kind of distinction, but I don't think Shad can say this about trans people or gay people. Like, that's just not how that fucking works, dude. Alright, I digress. I find equally and personally offensive as many of my beliefs are to them. Although it seems they probably don't have a correct understanding of my views, seeing as many hear disingenuous, hateful comments about me and take them as categorical truth. Prove it. Citation needed. We just watched your videos, like on Dumbfuck Friday, and like reading this post and like reading the post from the other day. Yeah, we looked at what you said literally. I didn't look at like YouTube comments to see what, or look at somebody else's videos about you to see what you had to say. I looked directly at what you had to say. My point is, because it's very reasonable to just, you said your views were clear, and so it's very reasonable for people to look at your views and come to the conclusion that you're an asshole. Like, that's not weird. That's not hard. And especially, this is such an odd thing to say when you're clearly already saying that you have beliefs that people find offensive and you stand by them no matter what. Then why are you bringing up people misrepresenting you? You already are admitting that it's offensive to some people and that you're fine with that, and you're fine with fighting against trans people being allowed to exist. So why would you have a problem with people who don't agree with that and find that offensive moving away from you? Because you're harming people. Their views beliefs aren't harming anybody. Yours are. You're the problem. Shad's not the arbiter of trans people. I don't even think Shad's the arbiter of his own life. I'm pretty sure he's Mormon's, which means God's the arbiter of his life. My point is, I actually believe and practice tolerance and acceptance of people different from me. No, you don't. If you did, the thing that we looked at last time wouldn't exist. Half of this post wouldn't exist if that were the case. You don't have to agree or This is an entire post bitching that somebody didn't agree with him and decided they didn't want to associate with him anymore. If he would actually believed and practiced tolerance and accepted of people different from him, then he wouldn't be making a post whining and bitching that somebody was different from him and decided to go another direction. You're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself. That's all this is. You're just tattling. You're tit-tattling all over yourself. And nobody asked you to. This was unprompted. Your name's not even in the post. Anybody who doesn't follow that person doesn't know. You just made sure everybody did know. Or at least now they think it's about you. I'm gonna laugh my ass off if this Matt guy is like, well, actually, I was talking about this other guy, but now I don't work with Shad either, because that was just stupid. You don't have to agree or celebrate someone's belief or lifestyle to tolerate them and treat them with kindness. I don't think you understand that tolerate and treating with kindness are two different things. There's a difference between tolerating somebody existing and being nice to somebody who's there. Those are different things. If you're tolerating somebody, you're not being nice to them. You're tolerating them. You're allowing their existence in your vicinity. As if it's, and this is part of that privilege showing, as if it's your vicinity to begin with. It's not. It's everyone lives here, dude. None of us asked to be here. We didn't get consent before being born, whatever theology or non-theology you follow. So, you know what is your space? Your comment section. You're allowed to curate that however you want. You don't want trans people commenting about trans shit on your channel? You can disallow that. That's fine. If YouTube takes a problem with that, then that's on YouTube, and YouTube can work with you on that, or just yeet you off the platform, whichever one they just choose, because sometimes they'll do one, sometimes they'll do the other, yeah. Oh, God. You don't have to agree or celebrate someone's belief or lifestyle to tolerate them and treat them with kindness, as you would anyone else. But you don't. Shad, you don't go around making demeaning asshole posts justifying being an asshole to straight white people or cis people. You only make assholey posts justifying your assholishness towards trans people. And so if you're only making it towards trans people, then not only are you not tolerating them and you're not treating them with kindness, but you're also not treating them the way you're treating everybody else. Are you blind? Do you know the words you speak and what those words mean in this order? I would never consider disassociating myself with anyone due to them believing many standards left-leaning views that I find offensive. I'm sorry, I have to read this again. My brain didn't comprehend that. I would never consider disassociating myself with anyone due to them believing many standard left-leaning views that I find offensive, or if they received online hatred from activists for having standard left-leaning views. That would be intolerant, and I stand by my friends. If your friend was a Nazi, are you gonna stand by that? If your friend was a rapist, like with Danny Masterson and Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher, are you gonna stand by your rapist friend? Well, people are gonna call you an asshole. Right? Like, literally nobody's stopping you. But nobody has to do the same thing that you do. This is not, you're trying to make this about principles, and you're trying to make it seem like you have better principles than the other person, but you're the bigot. But you're the intolerant bigot. That's not how it works. So you're basically wandering around being like, I'm gonna stick my dick in the pudding at the barbecue, and then people at the barbecue leave the barbecue, and you're like, I would never leave if my friend stuck their dick in the pudding at the barbecue. I'm such a better person. You know what? I'm gonna eat that dick pudding at the barbecue. Sometimes you gotta eat the dick pudding. You know, and sometimes you just gotta be a bro and eat the dick pudding. This is the Bros Will Be Bros Club, bro. My tolerance and acceptance ceases when people demand I practice opposing beliefs, betraying my own beliefs, for the sake of their feelings. Nobody is doing that. I will push back and fight for people's and my own right to practice my beliefs and religion. Where? Where's the line? So Scientology, abusing people, straight up abusing people, well known, well documented, culty bullshit, under the tag of religion. That's fine. You're gonna fight for their right to do that. Are you? Would you fight for the right of the Pharisees to murder Jesus? Because that was part of their religious thing. They got the Romans to do it on behalf of their religion. Would you fight for the Catholic Nazi shit and their rights to identify all those Jews? Where are your lines here? Because you basically just said you would fight for the rights to practice religious things no matter what they are. So what about stoning people? That was a practice. Are you pro-stoning? What about a religious sacrifice? That was a thing. If it was part of the religious practice, would you fight for a right? That's a right to you because it's under this religious banner? That's pretty fucking absurd. I feel like you didn't, think this through. If I worship Quetzalcoatl, can I get away with human sacrifices? Yes, see? J.K. Carrier knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, thank you. It's not about being polite. It's not about being polite. We're back to the... Okay, so remember earlier in the post, he's talking about this, and I referenced this other tweet about him being transphobic and an asshole to trans people and saying that it's justified because of his God. He's bringing it up on his own. I didn't even need to bring it up. It is not about being polite when what they are demanding is a fundamental betrayal of my religious beliefs. Nobody is asking you to deny Jesus, Peter. Calm the fuck down. But I would never take away a person's right to believe things I disagree with and live how they want, nor would I ever withhold the hand of friendship or choose to disassociate with people who hold beliefs I disagree with or find offensive. So you're buddies with the KKK and the Westboro Baptist Church? You just said never. You have no discretion at all? There's no... The only line is I identify as a male, and I have been a male, but I was born with women biology, and I would like to make that changes to my body personally. And it is unrelated to you. If we are going to associate with each other, I would prefer that you call me Victor and use he, him pronouns as I make this transition in my life. Fuck you! Whereas KKK is like, yeah, black people suck and we should crucify them on fire crosses. And you're like, that's cool. Yeah, are you seeing like the weird differentiation here of like what the practical purpose of your rhetoric? Like when you take your rhetoric and apply it practically, it kind of makes you a piece of shit. I don't know. The KKK are 100% Christian conservatives. That is not, like, in question. That is 100% the case. For sure, Christian conservatives. Which is, the people he's associating with. That's who he chose to be like, yeah, lots of Christian conservatives agree with me. Fucking, really? That's the association line you want to draw? Indeed! To do so is one of the most severe acts of categorical bigotry there is. Yes, asking somebody for you to refer to them as a pronoun that you don't think that they were born with, as if that's information you just have and know for some reason. Your response is to be a piece of shit to them, instead of just not, because you could just not be around them. You could just not interact with them. You could just be like, no thanks. Kind of like what Matt did. You do the adult mature thing and be like, you know what? Not for me. Don't want to be associated with that. I'm gonna go my own way. No. You gotta stomp on that minority. You gotta stomp on that person that's definitely like societally already getting shit on, because you're the bigger person. That's how that works, right? And that's the real bigotry. I'm the real victim. Oh, God. Matt Easton and the others who've chosen to do this are guilty of this and have revealed their own intolerance. Yeah, this is called the paradox of intolerance. It means that if you if you are so tolerant that you tolerate intolerance, then the intolerance will take over, and all you'll have is intolerance. So what you do is you tolerate everything but intolerance, or you decide where your boundary lines are within that tolerance, and you say, okay, I'm going to use some math terms, okay? We're going to work on some machining here. If I have a part, and the part needs to be this big, these are my border lines, right? And then I say, okay, well, if it's this big, it's like I have tolerance of this size or this size, but it can't be any bigger than this, and it can't be any smaller than this. Meaning that this area is the amount of tolerance for what you've already allowed for. Right? So in society, you're already going to have your societal boundaries. Tolerance is just enabling things that are not harmful to the thing you already have and allowing that to become part of the thing that you already have decided to tolerate. So when something is out of tolerance, meaning it's intolerable, it cannot be tolerated. It is intolerant. So you do not allow for intolerance in your society, nor in your machining, because it means the part is bad and it means the society is bad. Because it's not going to work properly or function in what is intended to do, and your society is not going to fucking work. This big. Too big. Squish. Squish. So anyway, Shad doesn't understand what the paradox of tolerance is. But I will not cut them off as they are choosing to do to me. You don't get the choice here. They already cut you off. You don't get to be like, no, you. That's not... They already left. This is like somebody saying, I'm done with you, and walking out of the room, and then you in the room being like, yeah, well, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, I don't like you anyway, I'm done with you. Like, they're already gone. They're already gone? They left. What are you doing? My hand is still extended to move forward in collaboration and friendship, even though they have beliefs I find extremely offensive and have cast me aside as someone so vile to be a pariah to them when I have done nothing but show them support and kindness throughout our entire association. Okay, but here's the thing. If we look at Matt's post, Matt specified, right? One of the people involved yesterday, turns out, is highly personally offensive to a lot of people I care about. So if you punch my wife in the face, but you're nice to me, why would I be friends with you? If you harm people in somebody's life that they care about, you may as well be harming them if they actually do care about those people. So you're not just offending them, you're harming them. And like they said, I don't care about historical views, but they care about bigotry, sexism, racism, or homophobia, or transphobia from what we've seen. Or this big. This big. Near, far. Near, far. So no, if you harm people that somebody cares about, it's reasonable for them not to want to deal with you. It's not that complicated. If somebody attacked Shad's wife, do you think it would be reasonable for that guy to say, yeah, but nice to you, Shad. I still have a hand of friendship out for you. I've been nice to you so much. Yeah, I know I attacked your wife, but, that doesn't matter because I've always been nice to you, so I don't know why I'm such a bigger person. I would never. I've been so nice to you, and my hand of friendship is still out there. Like, dipshit, no, that's not how that works. If you kick my dog, I'm gonna gouge your eyes out. Like, fuck off. Right, buddy? Fuck. Boop. I may have hit your wife, but I helped you charge your J.O. crystal every day. Yeah. They have exposed themselves as the true intolerant bigots. They're not telling you can't be who you want to be, and they're not telling you that you can't hold your religious beliefs, and they're not telling you have to change your belief in a god. They're telling you that you're being an asshole and they don't want to be around you. Bigotry doesn't mean you don't hang around with people you don't like. That's not what bigotry is. That's just having discernment about who you want to keep around you. Bigotry would be like, I don't want to keep gay people around me because they're gay. That's bigotry, because the only defining feature has nothing to do with a characteristic of who that individual is. It's you making assumptions about gay people and thinking there's anything wrong with being gay in the first place. Why do these people not understand what bigotry is? You know what? Just for the sake of it. The Britannica definition of bigotry is bigot. A person who strongly and unfairly dislikes other people, ideas, etc. A bigoted person, especially a person who hates or refuses to accept the members of a particular group, such as a racial or religious group. They're not rejecting you because of your religious beliefs. They're rejecting you because of your bigoted behavior towards other fucking groups. And if I go to like just the Google definition is an obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction, in particular prejudice against people or a person or people based on their membership of a particular group. But it has to be unreasonable. So if you have reasons and they're reasonable, so like if I don't like Nazis, I have good reasons. My reason is that they're fucking Nazis. If I didn't like Shad based on his religious beliefs, like because he was a Mormon, and my reasoning was fallacious, then that would be bigoted. But if my reasoning is not, like, is solid, because I don't like the way they treat women, then that's fine. But even then, I usually don't, because there's a lot of Mormon people, there's a lot of Christian people, there's a lot of Muslim people, there's a lot of religious people, and a lot of them hold a lot of different views on particular things, where they do or do not. I'm not going to judge somebody because they believe in a god. I don't care. That's fine. But if your religious beliefs cause you to be a bigot, or you weaponize your religious beliefs as a shield for your bigotry, for your hatred, and use that to justify being an asshole, I'm going to have a problem with you, the individual, which is not bigotry, because it's about a group or about a person being part of a group. People don't not like Shad because he's because he's a Mormon. They don't like him because he's being an asshole. Anyway, they're not intolerant bigots. They're intolerant of your intolerance, and they're not bigots, because that's not what that word means. And seem to be oblivious to the truth that there are many, many people like me who believe the same things as I do, and stand for the same principles. No, we know there's a lot of bigots out there. That's not surprising. Like, we're aware of this. You don't shut up about it. I don't know why that would matter, though. So what if we were aware or not? What is this, an argument ad populum? There's a lot of us, therefore we're right. What the fuck? There are other prominent content creators in our community that think very similarly to my social and political beliefs. Name them. Name them so we know who they are, so we can fucking ostracize them too. You guys can all go be in a little group together on Truth Social. Fuck off. Like, go ahead. Name them. Expose them. Why don't you name them? Weird. And it's almost like somebody can hold the beliefs and keep those beliefs to themselves and not make them part of their brand. You didn't choose that. You chose to make it part of your brand, meaning you've tied it to your channel, meaning that anybody who associates with you and your channel has to deal with that baggage that you brought on board. Is Matt going to disassociate with these content creators too? Probably, if he knows who they are and those, and that like is part of their brand and part of like the public discourse. Probably, he probably will. Name them. Let's find out. You want to see if he's just like picking on you? Name them. Let's go. I'll play this game. I'll play this game all goddamn day. Or is his gauge of intolerance not based on fundamental beliefs, but how much people in his audience hate someone due to them being open and outspoken about those said beliefs? People don't know your beliefs if you don't share them, dumbass. So people have a problem with you because you share them. If somebody has these beliefs but doesn't share them for whatever reason, then people aren't going to dislike them because they don't know, and they don't care because they don't know. And if you notice, it's not that it's that you're outspoken about your beliefs, it's that your beliefs that are the problem. Is he okay to associate himself with them so long as they stay in the closet about their more conservative views? Maybe. Maybe they'd be reasonable enough to have a conversation with. It's going to be on a case-by-case basis because he's not a bigot. If he was a bigot, then it would be unreasonable and he would just make the assumption. I know that if I found out somebody was bigoted and I had them on my channel, I would call them out. Wait, I've done that thing to John recently. I did that shit to Steve too. I don't give a shit. As soon as I'm made aware of it and it becomes an issue, we're gonna have a conversation. Or we're gonna fucking kick him in the ass. But if I don't know about it, I can't possibly fucking call it out. It's not how that works. You can't look at somebody and know what they believe. Some people wear what they believe literally on their body. So like a MAGA hat. But even then, I might not assume. Like if it's somebody I knew and they suddenly showed up with a MAGA hat, I'd be like, funny. Like I would assume that they were kidding. Right? I would assume there was a joke happening. And to not upset the minority of ideologically possessed extremist viewers that he has? Okay, that's not a full sentence. Why do you think it's a minority? Just because you said there's a lot, like most Christian conservatives believe this, that's a group of Christians. That's not even all Christians. So why do you think that if you were to take conservative Christians and compare them to all of everyone else would be a minority? Do you think conservative Christianity is that big? Is that the bubble you live in? Because like this to me is kind of telling. He seems to have like this overinflated idea of the reality and the real effects of like what is his like pocket like that he's used to dealing with. You know what I mean? So like when we were watching him covering the Barbie movie, we were like, what women are you talking to? You're saying women say this and all the women you know this. Who are they? What different opinions are you pulling in? You're not pulling in different opinions because you're villainizing everybody else. So like, if you're talking about trans people, what trans people are you talking to? What trans people want to be around somebody like you? So like, where are you getting your reference point? Your perspective is fucking so goddamn skewed into a left field oblivion somewhere that I don't think that your view about how popular your opinion is that everybody else is fucking a minority, like, it's probably not. You might want to, like, reassess. I believe the term is check yourself before you wreck yourself. If this is the case, which it most certainly looks like it. If this is the case, which it most certainly looks like it, then well done, Matt, for being controlled by the outrage mob and revealing your true colors. These were a lot of assumptions that you just threw out there without actually throwing out any information. So, I'm gonna go with no. But I do think that he is revealing his true colors, and it's pro-rainbow. Not anti-anybody. Pro-people, not anti. Matt doesn't seem to be aware of the number of viewers and subscribers he has that are conservative and or Christian like me, that believe many similar things to my social and political views. So it's all about numbers. You think that he should tolerate you and your beliefs because you think you outnumber his audience. I mean, so what? Do you... Maybe he has integrity. Maybe he's like, I don't want transphobes as my audience. Maybe the numbers are not as important to him as they are to you. Why do you care? If there were less Christians like you, would that change your belief? because I would implore you to travel. I would implore you to step outside of your comfort zone and meet some people. Go to Thailand. Go to the Philippines. Go to India. Go to South Africa. Go to Russia. Topical. Go like 7 feet outside your fucking door and touch some grass. Matt's actions here clearly show he does not want to associate with people like us. Oh, now it's an us thing. I mean, yeah, it's true. Matt's decision here is very clear, and he's very straightforward with what he wants. He's like, I don't like bigotry, don't support it, don't want it near my shit. That very clear, and yeah, he doesn't want to associate with bigots, I guess. Shocking. Weird. Why is that odd to you? We're too vile in his opinion. Well, too vile for what? To hang out? He just doesn't want to hang out with you, dude. You're saying this like he's sending you to the guillotine, or he's like forcing you into some little back corner or some shit. No, he just doesn't want to hang out with you, dude. He's just not that into you. I don't know what to tell you, man. How dare he then accept their viewership and support when he clearly hates us so? He doesn't get to pick who watches his videos. It's not like I can say no Nazis and then therefore the YouTube algorithm and the YouTube like brainlet will just beam into somebody's head and be like, oh no, this person's definitely a Nazi. They can't watch this video. That's not how that works. It's not how that works at all. How do you expect this Matt guy to go through and read the mind of every viewer he has, especially on a channel that has 419,000 subscribers? What? What a bizarre fucking thing to say. Let me be clear. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, please do. If you believe things different to me, even things I find offensive, or live styles I disagree with, I will not treat you any differently to anyone else. This is a lie. We've already demonstrated how this is a lie. You already treat trans people differently. Because you don't question everybody's pronouns. If I look enough like a woman to you, you will use she and her. If I look more like a man and I look passable as a man, because you don't know what I was born as. You're just assuming it based on how I look. And so if you're making that assumption, you're just guessing my pronoun. You fucking idiot. And you do treat them differently, because if you guess wrong, you are an asshole. Because if you guess wrong, you stick with it. Right? So, like, if I was born a man, how do you know? How do you know what's on my fucking birth certificate? First off. Second off, if you call me she and her, and I'm like, great, perfect, thanks. You're betraying your beliefs if I was born a man and you would never know otherwise. And if I look more like a man, or if I'm like, no, I'm a man, and you go, well, no, fuck you, then you're not treating me the same way you treat everybody else, because you don't do that to anybody else. You fuck nugget. You are welcome to be my friend. No, they're not, because you don't have any respect for them. That you have to respect friends. Friends garner respect from you. If you don't respect them, then you're not their friend. And you are welcome on any of the channels to enjoy the content. Give me money by watching content. Yeah, you can't stop people from watching your channel. The thing that will stop people from watching your channel is being a piece of shit to them. That might garner you lost viewers of people who would watch your shit otherwise. I look forward to associating with you in the comments. You can't tell people's gender from their fucking YouTube comments. And if you make content in the future to watch, support, and maybe even collaborate if circumstances allow, come talk to me. Let's go. Come on. Do it. Okay. Collaborate. By collaborate, he means get his ass kicked in conversation if he ever decides to talk about this. Like, right now, he's just on a soapbox, right? He's not actually facing any kind of, like, direct pushback. I believe Matt is capable of being a mature adult. I mean, he's already proved it. He did the mature. This is him doing the mature adult thing. And being a truly tolerant person, not one that claims to be tolerant while excommunicating people from his association for wrong think and false vilifications, claiming standard conservative and religious beliefs as extremism. Those aren't what those words mean. Something can be common and still be extreme. Being common doesn't make it not extreme. That's not what that means. These are not, like, independent. You can have both. Nothing has shown that you were falsely vilified to Matt and Matt just went along with it. That's just something you stated during your rant. You didn't actually demonstrate that that was the case. That was just an assumption you made. And you can't be a truly tolerant person because of the paradox of tolerance. And being tolerant as an individual in your day-to-day life is different from tolerating specific branding and content on your channel, which is a job. These are different things, and you're just throwing them around like these things are just the same. You're just tossing a salad. Like, no, the tomatoes aren't going to be, no matter how much you toss that salad, the tomatoes aren't going to become lettuce. You'd have to, like, pound it and turn it into a salsa if that's what you want. Here's the reality. The people that are so intolerant and emotionally unstable to the point of not being able to be near people with views they find offensive are a tiny minority. He doesn't want to collaborate with you on videos because of your channel to channel, because of you adding additional baggage to your channel, which is your belief system. He didn't say he wouldn't talk to you, although he probably won't, because why would you? Why would anybody talk to Shad? He's an asshole. Oh my god, it's not emotionally unstable to decide you don't want to associate with somebody. In fact, that's a completely stable decision to make. In fact, it's the mature one. If you're like, you know what? Me and this person have enough different views that I'm just gonna go my own way, is a stable decision. You know what's an unstable decision or an unstable decision? This post, this whole rant is unstable. This is like baby tantrum. And yes, they seem like a larger group because they are so outspoken and they overrun many online platforms. He said on X, which has been supporting Nazis recently, and unironically says about the group feeling larger and seeming larger because they're outspoken, like conservative Christians. Self-awareness has left the building. But in the real world, they are the minority. I don't think so. Citation, please. I would love to, like, let's see. Hold on. You know what? We can look this up. Worldwide religions let's go by percentage. So, the first one comes up with Christianity at 31.1%, 24.9%, 19.6%, 15.2%, 6.6%, and 5.6% for Christianity, Islam, irreligion, Hinduism, Buddhism, and folk religions. Right? This is just on the first, like, thing. But if I go worldwide Christian conservatives by percentage, Religious composition of conservatives. Evangelical, mainline Protestant, historical Catholic, Mormon is 3%. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but 3% is pretty fucking low. That's pretty minority-ish. So this is like, amongst conservative, Christians of these groups are more, like, so conservatives are this religion. Right? But this doesn't say, this isn't the right actual thing that I'm looking for. This is telling me what the religion is for conservatives, and I want to know what the these are compared to everyone worldwide. So I might be asking for something a little bit demographics. And this is just America. So I need a Christian right, conservative Christianity. Here we go. Let's see what this says. Not to be confused with Christian right, a political movement of Christians that support conservative political ideologies and policies within secular or non-secular realm of politics. I mean, this might be what he means, so we're going to look at this. Conservative Christianity, also known as conservative theology, theological conservatism, traditional Christianity, or biblical orthodoxy, is a group of overlapping and denominationally diverse theological movements within Christianity that seek to retain orthodox and long-standing traditions and beliefs of Christianity. It is contrasted with liberal Christianity and progressive Christianity, which is seen as heretical heterodoxies by theological conservatives. Conservative Christianity should not be mistaken as being synonymous with the political philosophy of conservatism or the Christian right, which is a political movement. Okay, so no, he means Christian right. So let's see. The Christian right or the religious right are Christian political factions characterized by their strong support of socially conservative and traditionalist policies. Christian conservatives seek to influence politics and public policy with their interpretation of the teachings of Christianity. In the United States, the Christian right is an informal coalition formed around a core predominantly white conservative evangelical Protestant and Roman Catholics. The Christian right draws additional support from politically conservative mainline Protestants and members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The movement has its roots in American politics going as far back as the 1940s. It has been especially influential since the 1970s. Its influence draws from grassroots activism as well as from focus on social issues and the ability to motivate the electorate around those issues. The Christian right is notable for advancing socially conservative positions on issues such as creationism in public education, school prayer, temperance, Christian nationalism, and Sunday Sabbatarianism. Oh, keeping the Sabbath sake, don't work on Sundays. As well as opposition to biological evolution, embryonic cell stem research, LGBT rights, comprehensive sex education, abortion, and pornography. Although the term Christian right is commonly associated with politics in the United States, criminalization, blah, 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 blah. Similar Christian conservative groups can be found in political cultures of other major Christian majority countries. Christian right is also known as the New Christian Right or the NCR, blah, 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 blah. But if we look at, let's see, Christian majority countries. So 65 to 80% is this part of North America and Russia and Australia. And then there's a lot of Christian in Brazil and South America and Mexico, and then part of Southeast Asia, part of Asia. All right, give me like a list. Can I have a list here? Hold on. Oh, there we go. So, if we look at this chart, right? If we look at this chart and we go and look to see Christians that are not Orthodoxy, but we have to look at like Catholic and Christians, I guess, would be your best bet. Even just like the first category. We've got, like, the population, right? It's Christianity by country. This is an estimate from 2010. 700,000, 93.3%, 20%. Austria. So this is like of the Christians, what percent are Christians and what are Catholic. So then you have to take like Afghanistan and you have to compare this number to their population. So if I go to Afghanistan and I say, what's the population of Afghanistan? 40.2 million. So the number of Christians in Afghanistan is 6,000 to 8,000 out of 40.2 million. I'm gonna say just on Afghanistan alone, Christians are not the majority, let alone conservative Christians. So, not that they are not necessarily going to be the most liberal people on the planet, but they definitely don't agree with you. Anyway, this is a stupid statement. Most people are not so delicate, easily offended, or hateful. What are you doing in this post, dude? You're being delicate, easily offended, and hateful because this guy didn't want to hang out with you anymore. This minority will complain online and claim hate speech against what in reality is bland political views, but all they need to be is ignored. Then ignore them, because you're not ignoring them. If that was the case, then you would do that, but you don't do that. You've already stated in this post that you have a whole channel dedicated to your belief system, which is talking about these people. You fucking idiot. Remember when I said earlier that somebody was self-contradictory? The collaboration video I filmed with Matt yesterday was great, and only true fools would think that merely associating with someone means you endorse any of their views. There's something called tacit acceptance. Look it up. Or does Matt think no one on the left should associate with anyone on the right for fear of being perceived as politically allied? No, it was about bigotry. He said it was about bigotry. You're just lying at this point. You're begging the question. You're being rhetorical. There's an answer. It's in this post that you linked. So you're just giving me the fuel of you showing that you're lying. All Matt needed to do was ignore the outrage mob and show true tolerance, acceptance, and accept my hand of friendship. Come be with me, be a better person. As that is what we need to do to push for a truly tolerant and peaceful society. No, you do not tolerate intolerance, and you, Shad, are intolerant. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Matt, as shown by his example, would rather we all excommunicate ourselves from those who believe things we find offensive, live in a divided world where we openly hate and vilify all those with problematic opinions. Problematic opinions is a really nice way to say not letting trans people exist, shoving gay people back in the closet, not letting women have rights. Your opinions are harmful to people and society. It's not good for society to let Nazis roam around. We tried it once. Didn't go well. Apparently we're trying it again. It's still not going well. What a shame and what a disappointment. Oh yes, oh no. Shad's approval is so very much desired by this person who said that they didn't want to associate with them anymore. Anyway, thanks Scola Gladatoria. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Good job on this guy for standing up for what he believes in, because apparently if he does it, it's not okay, but if Shad does it, it's fine. So this guy standing up for his beliefs is a big no-no for Shad, but Shad standing up for his beliefs is A-okay. So shout out to this guy. So if you want content about like, because a lot of people when we looked at Shad on YouTube before, a lot of the comments were like, oh man, I really liked Shad back in the day. I didn't realize he turned into such a piece of shit, or I liked him up until I found out he was a piece of shit. So hey, maybe here's an alternative for you where you get all the fun, cool sword shit and not a piece of shit. I don't know. That has yet to be seen. I haven't watched this guy's stuff. This is just, I'm an outsider seeing this and being like, oh, Shad's a fucking idiot. You guys, how to eat this? Shad's a moron. I don't get it. Bigotry makes you stupid. And I feel like that needs to be on a shirt. Or a mug. I feel like they're synonymous. I don't think you can be a bigot and not be an idiot.